I think this is a very important conversation. I think, the more attention it gets, the better. And especially you running for candidate. I mean, that's something that we need. We need to highlight candidates that are actually gonna do something, not just go with the big industry where the money's at. We really need to protect the community.
That you're gonna hear me say that over and over again. I sometimes I feel like I'm boring because all I say is we got to get the money out of politics, y'all.
Yeah.
Like as long as these politicians are beholden to these campaign contributions, right? Beholden to these special interests because of the campaign contributions, they're never going to represent us.
No,
Full stop. It's like I don't even like what else am I even supposed to talk about on the campaign trail? Like it's not it almost seems pointless to talk about, oh, wouldn't it be nice if we did these things? Well, we can't because
no,
this industry doesn't won't let us,
right? Nope, that's a fact. Thank you
Yeah.
for at least talking about it because I know other candidates don't want to ruffle feathers, but you're talking about it, so that's important.
Well, maybe this is wish casting, but I think that we're entering a new era. And I think there's a real opportunity here for us to fundamentally change things. I mean, the Democratic Party has never been this unpopular in all of survey data that we have, going back decades. And people are fed up, and I think it's largely because of that money they've been taking. More and more, they've been serving the oligarchy, not the working people of America,
Right?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna tell you, preach on, Sean. Go ahead. And sorry, Ashley. Hi, I'm over here very
Hi.
distracted. Sorry for
No,
being.
it's good. No, in fact, speak as much as you can this
Yeah.
evening on all of these topics. We really want to lean on you and and Omar and Providence. Dr. Ann will not be joining us tonight, but
Oh,
it was a last minute. I'm not sure why, but that's
good.
fine. We have plenty, and
But I hope she's okay.
yeah,
Everything's okay with her.
yeah, I think it was just like
Okay.
a schedule conflict last minute. So yeah, anything that you can add to the conversation, Sean, also, I just want to say, like, you're you're totally fine to ramble a little bit. So just if you do, don't apologize. Like, we're here for it. We're so here for it. So I
Right.
just want to remind you of that.
Yeah. Okay. Don't
Yeah, and just
apologize. Got it. Yeah, I got to stop
and and and
apologizing.
and please keep reminding everyone about that this is tied to the corporations, because it's easy to just like have this whole conversation and be like, oh yeah, and by the way, like, this is why we can't get anywhere, so I
Yeah.
think it's just so important. So the more other people can help us say this too, the better, because it's not just like a political ploy. It's real deal. So yeah, thank you, and welcome.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. I don't see them in the waiting room yet.
5 people enter the waiting room. Oh, okay. Um,
Yeah.
Yanley, would you be okay with clips of you speaking being used like on our
Oh,
campaign social media?
yeah.
Great. Okay.
I mean, I know as safe schools we cannot endorse, but as individuals we could. And I do have that history of being in office for over 8 years, my last
Oh,
year as
that's
a
right. Yeah,
councilwoman,
board trustee. Yeah.
council member for the city of Greenfield.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And at one point I actually supported Panetta, and then everything went downhill.
That's fascinating. I would love to learn more about that. I mean, oh shoot, we just have 1 minute before it starts. I want
Hi,
to
Omar.
love to hear that.
Hey, hello.
Hey, Omar.
You
Hi,
know what? I
Omar.
can't hear you guys.
Oh,
Hello.
Let me
can you?
sign out and try to sign in again.
Okay. I say okay after he says that he can't hear us.
Right.
Will we be, sorry, would we be able to get like to see who's on, like people attending, if they're gonna ask questions? Is there gonna be an opportunity for that for folks?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, that's
We
awesome.
we very much prioritize allowing the audience to ask some questions. I don't know if you've ever been to a Panetta town hall, but it's excruciating. It feels like he's just running out the clock.
Yeah,
He'll
because you don't want those uncomfortable questions, right?
exactly, yeah, yeah. And I was at a town hall.
Hello?
I was at a town hall
Mhm.
where they had an indefinite question period at the end, but I think he still ran out the clock so that people would just want to go home.
Wow.
Just blah 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 blah. I mean, I think right now, particularly because of what he's doing in supporting Israel, Israel
Hmm.
genocide, he can't show his face in public. There's going to be protests just about
Yep.
anywhere he shows up. And
Hi, Omar.
Hi, I can hear you guys now.
cool.
Yay. How are you doing? You got me scared yesterday.
Yeah, I'm okay. You know, it's just I gotta slow down, you know. Been doing a lot of presentations and my body's telling me, hey, slow it down, you know. But today I didn't do anything. This is the only event that I'm doing.
Okay.
I've been, letting my body rest.
Good.
That's good.
Well, this should be a pretty low-key event. Is it okay if we throw questions to the audience, Omar?
Yeah, that's fine.
Great. That's great. I guess I wasn't sure if I'd ever run that by you, but yeah, I was just telling Yanley that we prioritize audience participation in these town halls. Oh, and Omar, I assume with all the media you're doing that you don't have a problem with us using clips of this on
No,
social media. Okay, great.
that's fine.
Okay, cool.
If you and I know this is being recorded,
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly. It's being
will you share that with us?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, that was Providence. I just text her the link. So should I let everybody in or should we wait for her? Should we
I think
just get
you can let people come in. Yeah, we can start
Okay.
chatting, and we can have a little bit of banter until she gets in.
Turn off my camera just to get a little bit more comfortable.
Hello, hello everyone. We are just waiting for one more. We're waiting for Providence to arrive, so we wanted to let everybody in and welcome you to our very important discussion on pesticide abuse. I just want to make sure that she can make it in here. Let me pin us here. Hi, Sean.
We're saying hi to me.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
I put you on a spotlight here.
Oh, okay, cool.
There we go. So, hello, Yanley.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. Can I add spotlight? There we go. Hello, Omar.
Hello.
Just trying to add everybody as a, see if this works. There we go. Okay, now we're cooking. And then we are just looking for Providence here. So I'm sure she'll be in a couple of minutes. So just want to say hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, super important conversation that we're having today. And very excited to hear about the updates on what is going on with Omar and Providence and your hunger strike right now, because that is the level we are at when it comes to the severity and the seriousness of the pesticides and lack of awareness that's out there. So I just want to just say welcome and have Sean introduce us on why we're having this town hall and then pass it along to you all so that we can get a little bit familiar with you and have some introductions.
Great. Thanks, Ashley. This issue of pesticides is one of the issues that we focus on as a campaign. Like in the literature that we pass out, actually, like these little cards we pass out. It's got 8 issues that we highlight, and this is one of those 8. We feel very strongly about it as a campaign. I'm horrified. I hear people use the term environmental racism, and I think that's a good description of what's going on here. This is a system that is prioritizing money over the health of our people, and particularly people that are seen as less important. One thing that really surprises me is that I just learned about this issue only a couple of years ago. I've been living in Santa Cruz County for 10 years and I just learned about it. And it was just because I was running against Panetta 2 years ago and my wife was digging through his FEC filings. We were just trying to understand who was donating to this guy and controlling his agenda. And then she started seeing all these big ag contributions and started learning more specifically as getting money from these pesticide manufacturers. And then she started learning about the effects on the farm workers and the children of the farm workers and the people living in the community. And we started learning these pesticides are illegal in other countries. Um, and so that's how I learned about it. And I started talking to people. Actually, that I soon got connected with Cora, and I asked Adam Scow, like, I shouldn't, maybe I shouldn't have brought up his name, but when I asked an activist, like, why is this allowed to happen? Why are they poisoning our kids? And the answer was basically just money. Big ag either buys a politician, or if the politician doesn't take the money from big ag, they know that if they don't go along with the big ag agenda, big ag's going to buy another politician and boot them out of office. So it seems that's fundamentally the problem, is that big ag has a stranglehold on our politicians. So I think this is very much the same issue that we have with all these other priorities that my campaign is lifting up. Gaza is another example. Jimmy Panetta, his top donor in 2024 was the Israel lobby, AIPAC, right? And that's why he's supporting a genocide over there. It's that money. Um, so it's, I think, across the board. Why don't we have universal health care? Well, our politicians are taking campaign contributions from Blue Cross Blue Shield. They're paid not to do the right thing. So I think the only way we're going to solve this problem is by toppling this money-based system. We need to somehow defeat this system in which politicians are allowed to take bribes legally, right? And to me, one way that we can potentially do this is by electing people through the Green Party, because the Green Party prohibits its candidates from taking money from super PACs and corporations. We can't take that dark money. So we've at least got that. When you throw your support behind that person, you know that they aren't part of that corrupt system. So I do want to mention also that I was very encouraged by what I saw at that Barrios event that just happened a couple weeks ago. I was really encouraged by the number of people that attended, particularly people from my part of the county. I think awareness is spreading up here in the northern part of Santa Cruz County. And I'm hoping that this campaign can further connect different communities to help spread awareness of what's going on in your farming communities. So with that, Ashley, do you want to pass the mic?
I actually just want to, Providence just got here.
Nice.
Excellent. Just right on time. Hello, hello. And one more here. So thank you for joining us, Providence.
Thank you for
It
having
took
me
a
here.
moment. Yeah. So in fact, it's a great timing, because it would be, I would love to just pass the mic around and introduce everyone. I do just want to say that what we're going to do is have essentially a conversation about especially Omar and Providence and the hunger strike right now, a little bit about what's just been going on in the communities directly, and then at the very end we'll be opening up for question and answer, more community conversation. So if you want to start us off, actually let's start with Yanley. Would you mind giving us a little background?
Well, hello everyone. My name is Yanley Martinez. I am a proud daughter of campesinos, farm workers. My parents brought me to this country at the age of 3, with the hopes of the so-called American dream that many of our Latino and indigenous communities still feel, even during these turbulent times, that we do believe in the American dream. My parents worked out in the fields for many years, up until my mom was forced to retire because she got sick with dementia. She was giving all dedicating all her life to the grape fields. And so I know that chlorpyrifos, which is one of our OPs that is no longer used in the state of California, was banned back in 2020. I know that that was a key factor for my mom's illness. And after that, my father had was forced to retire as well to take care of her. So this passion for pesticide awareness and pesticide reform, it really hits home for me because my parents were both affected by pesticides, and including my one of my own kids. I am a community organizer with Safe Ag Safe Schools, so I work both in Santa Cruz County and Monterey. But I do have colleagues with Californians for Pesticide Reform throughout the state, in the Central Coast and the Central Valley. And so this is a fight that we need as much awareness, we need as much people to continue to be the voice for others, especially our most vulnerable, our most community that gets scared to speak up because of retaliation. So, and I also am so honored to be here with all of you today, and also Omar and Providence, just because of what you're doing. That's a huge sacrifice, and I know that you're doing it from the bottom of your hearts for so many others. So much love and respect to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We absolutely value your perspective here, and we are really, really happy to have you as part of this conversation. Omar, could you fill us in on how are you doing? Tell us how are
I'm
you doing?
I'm doing okay. I've been doing a lot of presentations. I've been going to a lot of schools, doing, 3, 4 presentations per school. And I'm excited about it because a lot of these students know about the problem, but don't know the facts. When I talk to them about the harms and how it's not only a problem with our farm workers, but how it gets brought home to your home if these farm workers are part of your family, how it's contaminating them, their clothes, and how they transfer that to them. And then I talk about the harms to Mother Earth, how it's contaminating our air, our water, our dirt. And not only that, but it's also contaminating our wildlife. I know that there's some studies about the oceans. They're finding high concentrations of pesticides in our marine life. Also, the monarch population has decreased because they found high levels of pesticides in the monarchs. So it's not just a people problem. It's Mother Earth. It's wildlife. It's our air, our water, and the response that I'm getting from the students, what can we do? How can we help? We didn't know this information. We want to be part of this, and so it's an honor to be able to talk to these people and see that they have interest and they're worried. I've done some elementary schools, and their questions and their reactions is a little different than high school and college students. Their concerns are like, are my parents gonna be okay? My parents work in the fields, and they're worried, and it's sad that they have to worry about their parents, at that age, and having that sense of fear, what's gonna happen to my parents. So, uh, but there's a lot of positive reaction from all these students. And they want to join, they want to help, they want to make change. So it's been a big motivation for me to continue to do this kind of work. uh, Yesterday, uh, maybe 2 days, 3 days ago, I started to feel exhausted. I noticed that my body is asking for me to just relax and conserve energy. So, um, I have to today. I didn't do anything, just doing this event, but I have to learn how to listen to my body and conserve energy because I still have other presentations that I plan on doing, and I want to be able to make it to those presentations. So I gotta like slow down. I've, uh, of course, I'm hungry. I'm sick and tired of chicken broth and beef broth. So people have brought me, uh, uh, bean broth, vegetable broth. So it's nice to taste a little something different. But and I've lost quite a few pounds. I got on the scale this morning. I'm at 200. Started off at 212. So and I still got 13 days to go. So I have to really slow down and pace myself.
Thank you for saving some of your energy for us. We absolutely we're honored to have you here and to have your time, because I think every single event, every time you're able to speak to somebody about this and shed some of that light, I mean, it's literally one person to another. It's so important. So it's really admirable. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So thank you. And Providence, if we could hear how you're doing and tell us a little bit about
Hi.
you.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Providence, and I was born and raised in Watsonville. My grandparents brought my mother and my dad came over here. They immigrated over here to work in the fields. So they've also worked in the fields. And my grandpa was a bracero. So my family's been growing now for the past 30 years. They're actual growers at Driscoll's. And I know that retaliation, they are telling me that, I am putting them at risk, but I don't believe in staying quiet anymore. I don't believe in allowing this to continue. So I'm putting my life on the line. And this is extreme what we're doing, because I believe it's necessary to awaken the urgency amongst us all. It's the well-being. Our well-being cannot be sacrificed for the profit of others. It's time for us to unite and to stand and to demand accountability from all these people. We need to reject complacency. If we allow this to continue, how many more kids will die? This is murder, poisoning us. This is murder. They're murdering us slowly but surely. And that's not okay. So I know a lot of things that a lot of other people might not know, the inside of what's really going on over there. But the Mr. Ryder Miles, I know that he made a comment, and he said that they're not the right department that we should be complaining or that we should be saying anything to. He tried to pin the ball on another department because they're the ones in charge of overseeing the pesticide use, and you know, just went on that. And I believe that it is him who needs to be held accountable. And he is the one that needs to make a difference. And he's the one that makes the call. And they are the ones that make the decisions. As the growers, the decisions are not made by growers. Growers don't make any decisions whatsoever. They don't even decide where to grow, what piece of land they're going to grow on. Everything is done by the company. So for him to say that the growers don't want to go organic or that they're not in charge of what pesticides are used, I think that's just him trying to point the finger at somebody else, and that's not fair either. He needs to be held accountable. This is murder. What he's doing, he's poisoning us.
And
Just want to say before, and then have Sean take the mic here and start us off really. But I think one thing that you all mentioned that is just, it's so clear. This is our air, this is our land, this is our water, these are our lives. And from the grower to the person in the supermarket, it's impacting all of us. It might not be, hey, it's hard hitting news and everybody look at all of these people that just died. Like it's the slow progress of it is what makes it so hard to pinpoint and amplify, and they really don't want you to know it. So I'm just really glad that we're having this conversation. So Sean, yeah, could you lead us into our discussion here?
yeah, well, I think the first thing that we want to talk about is why why Omar and Providence, why are you having to resort to such an extreme tactic? I mean, someone shouldn't have to go on hunger strike to deal with an issue that should be dealt with legislatively. I mean, especially something that impacts so much of the community. Omar, could you talk about why it is that you've gotten to this point where you've had to do this?
Well, I'm a Watsonville Brown Beret. I've been a Brown Beret since the early 90s. We fought against pesticides in the 90s. And then coming from a community that has so many campesinos working in the fields, and just over the years, just seeing so many children suffering from all these diseases, respiratory, ADHD, cancer, and all these other diseases that it caused. I've seen it all over my community. And I've always been a follower of Dolores Huerta, follower of Cesar Chavez. And um, when Dolores Huerta was back here in Watsonville in May, she made a few comments that really stood out to me. One was that a lot of these harmful pesticides are not being used around the country. They're used in the United States. Uh, so that was alarming to me. That the other one was that she brought a farm worker that spoke about her experience, how she was had already kids before she had been working in the fields, and she became pregnant, started working in the fields, and her kids were born with uh, disabilities, sicknesses, and then she ended up getting cancer and had her stomach removed. That really hit me hard. And then the other comment she made was that a lot of these chemicals that they use to make these pesticides are the same chemicals that are that were used in the war in the gas chambers. And that just hit me really hard. I knew that I wanted to do something. Being an activist, for most of my life, I knew that we needed to do something, and we needed to bring awareness to our community. And me being an educator, working in the high schools, and seeing our students with these learning disabilities, with the ADHD, and suffering from other diseases, asthma, and all that other stuff. I'm very passionate about the youth, and them spraying these chemicals near the school was really made me angry. And when I first thought about doing the hunger strike, it was just a thought. The more I talked about it, then I started meeting other people that have been in this movimiento, like SAS, Safe Safe Schools, talking to Yanley. I seen her film. Her film, when I watched that film, it made me cry, because it's sad. It's sad that these community members are suffering like that. And it inspired me to see the youth, the work that they did to go to Sacramento, and to show up at meetings, and advocate for the end of pesticides. I mean, that's, to me, that's the most powerful voice in any movimiento, is the youth. So when I made this commitment, I'm the type of guy that if I say something, I'm gonna follow through with it. And if we're gonna go big. So I made this commitment to stand up for my community, and to put my body on the line for them, to bring awareness to this problem. And enough is enough. This has been going on for you know, over 100 years. Our farm workers have been fighting for better treatment, for uh, better working conditions. So this is not just about the pesticides, but it's also about the way our farm workers are being treated, the people that provide the food to the world. Nobody's gonna go out there and pick those fields. Nobody is. And the injustices that they have to face with the ICE and the deportation. So it's all part of this movimiento. Uh and I chose to do this hunger strike, and this is a different kind of hunger strike. I chose to go to schools because I know they will listen to students, and we need to educate them. Because once I go there and I educate them, I planted a seed, and I know somebody from those students, every time I go, is going to keep that message and carry it on home and to other students.
Yeah, well, clearly you are a man of your word. You do go big, that's for sure. Providence, how about you? Can you explain why it is that you feel you've had to resort to such an extreme tactic?
Every other way that we have tried to get the attention or to get answers or to make a change, like rallying or going to speak to these people in person, making appointments. Then after that, after the first call, it took them like 6 months to call us back for the second um, appointment. But I wanna say something to those who hear my call. I'm asking for support. And I want to add their voices to this fight. I want everybody to stand up. I want everybody talking to neighbors, to teachers, advocate about to school administrators and advocate to local leaders and demand safer practices in agriculture. We need to urge our schools to advocate for the health of the children. The schools have a lot of power. Together, we can amplify this and we can make a difference. I went with Omar the other day to one of the presentations he made, and the message was very strong. And the kids were asking him, what can we do? What would you like us to do? How can we help you? How can we join? What message should we say? How should we say it? And it was amazing how they all went to him and they all wanted that same change. It's the youth that makes the big difference. And we need to just let them know what's happening. My daughter was exposed, unfortunately, to pesticides at her old school. And ever since then, I decided that I needed some change. Something needed to change. Something needed to stop because that day it was my daughter and a few other kids, but it's been happening for so long. And I came to realize that this wasn't okay. My daughter was affected by it, and who knows when she'll get better from it. How many other kids? I've met a lot of families with kids with missing ears, with missing limbs, and I mean, their eyes are their vision, their asthma, ADHD. There was a family who had three kids, and that all three kids had ADHD, and they were jumping around. I mean, I just had them there for an hour, and I couldn't believe it. I said, I really feel for this lady dealing with the three kids she has, and they were just running amok on her. She couldn't control them. They were just off the hook. Can you imagine having three children with ADHD and autism at the most severe level? I mean, oh my gosh, I felt for that lady. And at that moment, I thought, we need to do something else. We need to make sure that somebody can hear us. And as soon as I heard Omar, when he said he was going to do it, I didn't know him. But I heard him say it somewhere, and I said, "Oh my God, I want to know who that guy is. What's his name?" And I started asking everybody, "What's his name? Who's that guy? Who's that guy?" So I started asking around about him, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, that's Omar." And I'm like, "Well, who is he? Like, I want to meet him. Introduce me to him." They're like, "Why do you want to introduce me? I want to meet this guy. This guy said something I'm very interested in." So the day that Dolores Huerta was here, I couldn't go. I had to work. But if not, I would have met him that day probably. But things happen for a reason. And when I met him, everything was at the right time with the right people. And these are the right people. I mean, Yanley, I've met a long, long time ago, and we connect every time we go to Sacramento. I run into her in Sacramento, but never here in town. And I'm glad that I ran into her again here in town. But when we see each other in Sacramento doing our thing, it's amazing. She's always there. She's a powerful lady too, and I love her too. I love both of them. These people have become like my family now, and everybody that I meet and that I get to know, I have a big heart, and I love to love. I love to love everybody. So I'm glad that we're in this together, but we need everybody else to join us. We need more people. We need everybody. All the parents need to know. Everybody in town needs to know. All the leaders need to know. Everybody needs to be advocating. Everybody should be doing what we're doing because that's the way that we're going to get more attention. So right now it's only us, but I think it should be everybody in this community because this is an important matter. This is life or death. Your kids are being poisoned. We're being poisoned. And they're doing it slowly so that we can't really, it's kind of hard. Like Yaneli said, it's kind of hard to do something about it when they're doing it so slowly. How can we make something or change something if it's happening in such a slow pace?
So, Omar, you were saying that the children seem very aware of the issue. They're very concerned about their parents. They're really motivated to do something. So I'm curious, what are they interested in doing? What ideas have you proposed to them that seemed enthusiastic about? And what are your ideas? And by the sorry, but before you answer that, we're going to let the audience ask questions. I see people raising their hands and making comments. We'll give plenty of time to the audience to ask questions. So Omar, again, I'm just asking, what were the kids enthusiastic about? What are you proposing to them that
Well, we've been proposing that I carry with me these postcards from Cora and Center for Farm Worker Families. I've collected hundreds of signatures at all these events. We asked them for their signatures. Of course, the high school kids, we asked them to take them home to their parents. We tell them, hey, join the Brown Berets. We're doing the work in our community. Get involved that way. Write letters to your school board, write letters to our city council. We turn them on to the SAS website, the Cora website, Center for Family Farm Workers um, uh, website. We talk about the spray days. Uh, you'd be surprised a lot. I get a lot of emails like they can't believe how many notifications they're getting from this website, spray days. Every time, they're like, I didn't even know they spray that much. I'm alarmed with how many times they spraying in our area. So those are the ways that we're using to engage with them. High school kids, I tell them, hey, do you want to earn your civic engagement seal for your diploma? We will help you earn that seal for your diploma. Get involved, show up to some of our events. And we're keeping in communication with the teachers, like, hey, whatever you guys need from us, information, whatever presentations, we're willing to do the work.
Providence, what kind of tactics are you recommending?
Well, because I'm involved with the Lutheran Church, our pastor, she has on Saturdays, she has groups and she has gatherings, and she reads books to children. And that's a great opportunity for us to connect with the community, with all the vendor kids and all the vendors that are there. Um, we were targeted a while ago when all this ice started up. Um, it was posted on one of the social media that our vendors were undocumented, which that's not true. And some are, but it caused a lot of issues there because our vendors didn't want to go anymore. But these vendors live off of this. This is something that they do to be able to live. And for them to be targeted with threatening that ICE would be showing up to our location. So our pastor got on it and she started to just want to make sure we had a safety plan. So with all this pesticide issue, she's also wanting to work with us. Right now, she's in Sacramento, but she's also wanting to work with us. She's also willing to put the church as a space, a safe space, so that we can get or give information to others, so we can meet. And I'm also part of Cora. Um, that's why we started doing Cora, because of what happened to my sister. So we started connecting with all these other people that were into the environment and people that were fighting already for, I think they were part of SAS, uh, Catherine and Woody. They were the ones that were active with Yanley, and they're amazing people. So I connected with them, and ever since then, we've been doing all kinds of different stuff. I mean, we've been writing letters, we've been writing postcards, we've been calling, we've been emailing, we've been showing up, we've been going to Sacramento to rally. Even you name it, we've been doing it, and not as much as Yaneli, she did a whole entire campaign, and I wish I would have known about it. That was an amazing campaign. Congratulations, Anneli. You did make me cry too with your movie. It was an amazing story.
Yeah, actually, Yaneli, would you care to contribute to this question of tactics? What tactics do you encourage your community to engage in?
Yeah, thank you, Sean. No, so part of the work that I do, I was involved with Safe Ag Safe School since 2017, and I be joined as a member because of a personal story. My son was affected by pesticides during school hours, and so that was a whole ordeal and just navigating the system with the Ag Commissioner, with DPR, which stands for the Department of Pesticide Regulation. But going back to why I got this job with SAS was just trying to do something different of environmental justice. And so part of our tactics, well, tactics as an organizer, and I do want to give a shout out because I know we have some SAS members connected. I saw Wes and I saw one of our youth co-founders from the Future Leaders of Change, Victor. So shout out to them. So part of the tactics is organizing and mobilizing. So we do press conferences right outside the Board of Supervisors because they are the bosses of the ag commissioners in Santa Cruz County and in Monterey. So we've been targeting them. We also do bills. We just ran a bill last year and the year before that. So the AB 652 basically created an environmental justice within DPR. Never been heard, never been done. And finally, many of our Monterey and Santa Cruz members will be a voice in that committee. It's an 11-member committee that are going to be able to advise and work with DPR to make sure that they get on things like lowering the use of pesticides, like putting a ban to some of the most hazardous pesticides that we have. And so with that too, it comes a lawsuit. We just recently lost a lawsuit, but that's not making us stop. We're trying to organize and see what's going to be the next approach. But that lawsuit was particularly for the schools in Watsonville, so Ohlone, Hall, Pajaro Middle School, that basically had the highest levels of 1,3-D, a cancer-causing pesticide. So we do from everything from legislation, mobilizing, protesting, just making sure that our voices are heard and that we put the people in this position who are the real leaders, and that is every single SAS member, every single future leader of change member. The community is the real voice. My job is just to organize and bring them together, but they are the heart of the movement.
So a question for any of you, do you feel like these elected officials are listening to you? I mean, from the county supervisors to assembly members in Sacramento, like are you being heard? Do you feel like this is moving the needle when you go and talk to them?
So I could tell you for a fact, like for us, then we've been working with again, we had two bills and both of them passed. So we did have support, but those actual authors were not local assembly members or senators. One was Alex Lee from the San Jose area, and one was Connolly, Assembly Member Connolly from the Sonoma area. So that speaks volume to how fearful they are because of the amount of money contribution that they get to their campaigns, that they're not willing to put a face to these bills that are obviously going to go ahead and affect the ag commissioners or the big ag companies or the chemical companies in a big way. But we do have to give props to some local supervisors that really are standing tall with us. They attend our meetings, they attend our protests. In Monterey, we have quite a few that support in the past. Now I would say we do have one or two only. But again, like I tell our community, don't get discouraged by these politicians that really don't want to do their job. You, the people, are the ones that get to elect them to office. So I'm sorry, but this is the time that we start to clean house. If you're not working for me or my constituents, then I'm sorry, you're out. So I think, again, the power doesn't really belong to the politicians anymore. It belongs to us, the people.
Yeah, amen. So that's really interesting what you said about how it seems like in our region, Big Ag has a stranglehold. Well, you didn't say stranglehold, but it sounds like you were saying Big Ag has a lot of control over politicians in our region, but you were saying that a bill passed at the state level, so Big Ag doesn't control the whole state. Is that right?
No, well, the interesting thing is that California is one of those few states. I think it's the only state that has a Department of Pesticide Regulation. So many of the states, and I've been interviewed by different journalists from other states in the country. And so they understand, like, oh, well, California is good because you guys have a department that regulates these pesticides. And so for me, it's a harsh reality when I tell them the facts. Yeah, we do have a department that oversees the pesticides But the interesting thing is that they don't only work because of the taxpayer money that they receive, they're also getting a huge amount of contribution from the chemical companies. So boom, there you have it. They work with the chemical companies and also with us, the taxpayers' money, and that shouldn't be the case. That should be something that should be removed within the department. But again, since we do have a state that is that has the preemption law that passed back like in the 1980s, all that power, that local power that we had is at the legislative level. And so that's why there's so much lobbyists for the ag companies, for the chemical companies. And we all know that politicians, some of them want to make this into a career. And so they stay for many years in office, receiving huge amounts, and they don't really want to make a change in our community. They don't really care, like Omar and Providence said, if kids are dying. As long as they have money contribution, they're okay. As long as they remain in that seat, they're okay. So I think it's time that we really start shifting, and I'm just so proud of the youth everywhere, not just our local future leaders of change, that are really asking these questions, the Gen Zs, the alphas, and they're saying, I'm sorry, we're not electing these politicians anymore. We want to see who your contributors are. If you're
Yeah.
getting money from this and that, I'm sorry, you are not going to have my vote. So it is time
Right.
that we continue that education part because again, they now we know where the dirty money's coming from.
Are you finding that that information is readily available in your community, the money that each of these politicians are getting? Do people know where to find that?
I think now because people are having that conversation that you could do a records request. You could see the campaign contributions, and you could also give props. And like I've mentioned it to many of our SAS members and many of our youth members, you really have to make sure that not only are we supporting these politicians when they're bringing forward policy like Assemblymember Lee and Assemblymember Connolly. We want to be there constantly when they're under heat to support them, to uplift them, to give them contributions from our own pockets, even if it's $5, $20 when they get that reelection, because those are the real politicians. And we should tell our local politicians, shame on you for not supporting us, the people. Shame on you for allowing all these pesticide poisonings in our community.
Yeah, I think you can tell how a legislator is going to legislate just by looking at who their top donors are.
If I could add to that, Driscoll's is a multi-million dollar company who
Billion.
donates to a lot of different organizations and people in our community, all the way to the businesses. And I was surprised. This is how big Driscoll's is. I attend ceremonies. I go to sweat lodges, and when I asked for support at one of the sweat lodges, I was asked to not come because they had Driscoll growers in that sweat lodge.
Oh,
That's how much power they got. So we're not going up against somebody that's going to be an easy battle. But I think that if we continue to expose them and expose these people that are causing these harms and continue this fight, I think that right now we have a big momentum to where we can make a change. Part of this fight is to educate the youth, educate them, educate our community, and also support the farm workers that are scared. And we need to find ways to support them and tell them, hey, you're not alone. You guys are not alone. We are here to fight for you. So that's why we're here to ask for any kind of support that we could get. The only way we're going to win this is if we continue to build this momentum and educate our youth.
And can I add something? I wish that the growers were really allowed to go organic, because there's growers that want to go organic, but they're not allowed to for whatever reason they have. But I would like to be able to say that my family grows organic, and for them to have asked and not been allowed, it's a bummer. It's a real bummer, because my family grows some of the best strawberries in the area, and they wish and I wish they were organic grown, because how else is there to grow better than that?
what could,
So,
why would that be? Can you explain? Like, do you have any guesses as to why they wouldn't want you to switch to organic?
well, first of all, they say that the process is very lengthy. So they said that they would need to leave all the fields that we want to convert into organic, they would need to be out for 3 years until the soil, the pesticides, I guess that's how long it takes for them to get out of the soil. So the soil needs to regenerate nutrients. So for them to even start to grow, first it's 3 years, and then there's a process. In those 3 years, there's education that they need to do, there's plans that they need to make, there's certifications they need to get, and then there's learning of them how to deal with pests and how to be able to use different methods of getting rid of, different pests that they get in the fields, or how to deal with different sicknesses that the plant gets when it's growing. So the pesticides and the gas that they inject into the soil is, it takes too long, and I guess they say that the cost is a little higher, but it's a lot more worth it. I buy organic because I think that right now I might pay a couple cents more, but at least I won't put that towards my medical bills later when I get sick from eating pesticides. So I think it's well worth it. A couple of cents for a couple thousand, it makes a difference. My health, is my life. So I think it's well worth it, and they don't think that that's worth it. They don't think it's worth it, and I think that all the fields that are being sprayed with pesticides right now, every single field should be left alone for 3 years and start this next season. This season is almost ending, and the next season is going to start. So they should leave all those fields that are right now, they're growing their last season, leave them alone after that, and we can start the 3-year process. This would be a great opportunity for them to start, and then start educating the growers that want to go organic and allow them to grow organic.
I mean, it seems like we'd probably have to either force them to do it, or we'd have to subsidize it. Maybe
I
force
have a
it, but provide
list.
a subsidy. What's that?
I have a list of growers that want to go organic.
Okay. So, but it's not going to happen because those fields are dormant for 3 years, or them not making money. So
It's
but
because
would it be realistic to legislate to like require them even at the federal, state, whatever level, that like you have to switch to organic, you have to leave these fields for 3 years? Would that bankrupt them? I mean, I'm not really aware of.
So Driscoll's is already growing organic,
Mm,
but they pick and choose where, what side, what fields, what area, because they have it kind of like fenced off for the public. So those areas are different areas, but they are not around schools. So they get to grow organic, so they get to say they're growing organic, but not around the schools. So yeah, they are growing organic. They are experimenting. They are growing different types of strawberry colors. They are doing experiments. They're doing everything they want in different sites. They pick the sites. They pick everything. They pick how much percentage they're gonna charge. They pick everything from A to Z. They pick it. So if they would allow it, these fields that are around the schools, we're not asking for much. We're just asking for the ones around the schools. We're allowing the rest of the fields to still get pesticides. In my dream, I wouldn't want any pesticides allowed in the entire state of, in all the United States. But unfortunately, we're not another nation that doesn't allow this to be sprayed, and we're spraying it. So this is, this
I
is
mean, shouldn't that
just,
be our demand though? Just end all pesticide use? I mean, that's
yes,
the other countries are
yes.
doing it. It's a reasonable demand,
Yes.
right?
Why aren't we doing it? Yes. So our leaders need to fight for that. They need to make that a law, or whatever they need to do, so that this can change. They need to stop spraying this chemical and using these chemicals. The chemicals they're using for our food are just poisonous. They're poisoning us.
Meanwhile, food can heal. These fruits, if they're organic, if they're actually grown properly, it's healing. We're literally doing the opposite. I just had to
Yes,
say
we
that.
are.
Yeah,
Yes, we are.
poison. Yeah. So, I think we're going to want to go to audience questions pretty soon here. I know there are a number of people that want to ask questions, but before we do, let me just throw out one more question for the panel. Since I'm running for federal office, mostly you've been talking about county and state. Is there anything you could imagine? Because I know that the federal government is relevant in this matter. If it weren't, these pesticide manufacturers wouldn't be giving all that money to Jimmy Panetta. So I know there's a reason they're giving them that money. Are you aware of any policy that you would like to see the federal government enact that could help you in this fight, or help us in this fight, I should say?
Well, what policy can you put in order? What can you do?
What could the federal government do?
Yes.
Well, I suppose the federal government could mandate a transition to organic, right? I mean, or I don't know. I guess that's my question to the panel. Is that allowed?
Yaneli?
For what? Sorry again?
Would
I
the
was trying to read
federal would the Fed can the because I know that like local governments have their hands tied on the regulation of pesticides and they can be overruled by state bodies. That's what I've heard. Or certainly city governments can, but I don't know if the federal can override state regulations when it comes to pesticides.
Well, that's the interesting thing that you just mentioned, Sean, because like I mentioned, the law that went into place back like in the 1980s, the preemption law that basically stripped that power from all the local electeds like supervisors, council members, and it stayed at the legislative level, and that's where it's at with Ana Caballero, with Assembly Member Rivas, all those politicians. They very sneaky of them, put it in the Farm Bill. I don't know if many of you here in the conversation heard about that. So while everything else was happening in the country, even now the distractions and whatnot, they have a piece in the Farm Bill. And again, I feel bad because I haven't been tracking that since we were focusing on spray days and making sure that we were going to have this first system in the world, and it was created by us, the people, not the politicians, not DPR. During that time, Congress was trying to sneak that part into the Farm Bill that basically stated that they were going to take the local control from states. And so what we have in California now was going to go all the way to the Congress. So basically, not even locally now they would be able to control the big chemical companies. It would have to be in Congress, and we all know how that goes, how much money they receive, and they don't care, and they just basically look the other way. So we really need to look at that fine print and make sure that we have these town halls with them, or we are just standing outside the offices of these elected officials so they know that exactly what our concerns are. So I think part of the job for you, Sean, would be really making sure that you remind people, I am going to be looking at the fine print. I am not gonna let anyone else hold me accountable but myself. That what I'm reading and what I'm voting will be what the community deserves and needs. Because when Jimmy Panetta was asked about the Farm Bill many times, we called him, we asked that he pay attention to that. We never got a return phone call. We never got a return email. So does that tell us that he already made up his mind? Yeah. And so I think that's as much as you could do, is making sure that you let folks know I am going to do my homework. I am going to be reading the fine print, and I am going to be open and transparent with every single one of you. That's as much as we could do.
Right. Well,
And we will be there for you too. We want you to know we'll be there for you in whatever way you need us to help you, right, Yaneli? Right, Omar? We'll be there. We'll be there right behind you. So you're gonna be the leader, and you're gonna do a good job. I
okay,
hope.
well, let's just end the session right there. And on that note, just kidding. Okay, great. Well, let's go to some audience questions. I know there are a number of people that have had their hands raised. Did you want me to handle it? I'll go ahead. I'll start with Michael Pan.
Thank you so much. Wonderful presentation and to hear from your stories. Yeah, my question I wanted to ask is what policies or remedies from someone from boots on the grounds would like to see on some Dougherty's platform to end pesticides on farmlands? And what compensation is needed to assist people who are experiencing environmental harms that have been created by big corporations, policymakers, and public officials to counteract Jimmy Panetta? Thank you.
All right, thanks. Does anyone want to take that?
I mean, organize. We need to organize the people, educate the people. We need to, maybe we need to rewrite these policies, revisit them. I mean, Yaneli, I don't know if you have something that's policy out there that we could push already, but
Yeah, no, that was great, Omar. So definitely part of the conversation would be really making sure that all of us do our homework and understand who the Department of Pesticide Regulation is, who is at the head of Cali, PA. Currently, we have Yana Garcia. She's amazing. She was put in office by Governor Newsom, but we know that once the governor term ends, we will have a new Cali, PA secretary. So we need to be able to meet with whoever it is, have these conversations. We need to know who the head of the Department of Pesticide Regulation is, which is Karen Morrison, and ask them these exact questions and make sure that we hold them accountable. And I think that's what AB 652 is going to do now with the whole EJEC, the Environmental Justice Advisory Committee. They're going to really make sure that they hold DPR accountable because DPR has a very slow walking process. They do have what they call the roadmap for pesticides right now, and they're talking about eliminating some pesticides, but their year to accomplish these things, they're talking about 2050. For me, I call that BS bullshit because 2050, are we gonna be alive? I don't even know if I'm gonna be around, to be honest. But come on, we need to get them out of this mentality of this slow walking process. Kids are dying, like Omar said, like Providence said. People are being harmed every single day. We talk about genocides that are happening. This is a genocide because, like they mentioned, Omar and Providence, a lot of these pesticides were created as weapons of war. They're no longer allowed in war, but why are they allowed in Watsonville fields? Why are they allowed in my community in Greenfield and Salinas? So we need to call it what it is, and this is environmental racism. So
It
hold
is.
DPR accountable.
Yeah, and if I could add to that, another way we could be boots on ground is start boycotting strawberries. Start boycotting Driscoll's. Driscoll's has told us that they are working on going organic. They have the resources, they have the money, they could convert these fields into organic, but do they want to? No, because the profit is what they're after. They're not after the safety of people.
By the way, the Green Party of Santa Cruz, Green Party of Santa Clara, and Green Party of Monterey counties have all endorsed the boycott of Driscoll's.
Yes,
Yeah.
and what we need to also do is reach people. Like the whole event at Barrios Unidos was intentional because we want to reach other people from not just Watsonville, Monterey County. We want to reach those other people that didn't know about this problem, and we plan on doing more events. So, write letters to Driscoll's, tell them that this needs to stop. Go to your supervisors, go to your social media and post things about this boycott, about how they're poisoning our children. I think a lot of parents are getting the information now about the pesticides being sprayed near the schools that their kids are going to, and they're alarmed. So we need to keep continuing this movement and educating the people. And as time goes, this is not going to be one overnight. We know that we're going to have to do a lot of work, and I'm in it for the long run. Um, this is just the beginning of something good to come.
But before we go any further, I'm afraid we might start losing some people at 8 in 2 minutes. Are there any websites that we could put into the chat that people could go if they want to join the fight, like Cora, SAS, something?
So I seen that she put the
Farm worker
Center for
comments.
Farm Workers in there already. SAS would be a good one. There's also Cora, and then there's also the spray days. The spray days, I think everybody should know about the spray days because once you see how many times they're spraying these chemicals, you get the notification at the time, the chemical that they're spraying, and it gives you, I think, a 1 mile radius of where that chemical is going to be sprayed. And you start getting those notifications, you will be alarmed how many times they're spraying. And they're not supposed to be spraying near the schools. I think there's a window where they're allowed to spray those chemicals, and I've seen some of these chemicals being sprayed hours before they go into school, and I've seen chemicals sprayed in the fields, and I'm curious. The next day I drive out there to see if there's farm workers. I've seen farm workers being working in those fields without no notification that the day before they're spraying chemicals.
Right.
I think somebody was asking for the webpage for the daily so that they can receive the notifications. Can you repeat it again, Omar, please?
I don't know the exact. Yaneli, can you give us that website?
Yeah, so as long as you go on Google and go under the Department of Pesticide Regulation, DPR, California, it'll take you to their link, their website, and then you'll be able to see where it says Spray Days, their new web system. We've been scolding them that we want an app. It's going to be easier. But again, this was a fight for many of the community throughout California that we fought for this notification system for over 4.5 years. Up until this year, March 24th of 2025, it was broadcasted to the whole state. And it's amazing, like Omar mentioned, because you get to see how much California depends on pesticides. We're not talking about five sprays here and there. We're talking about tons of pesticides, the most dangerous. They're not giving us all the pesticides, they're only giving us 50, but those are the most dangerous 50 pesticides that you could think of, like 1,3-D that's highly used in the Watsonville, Santa Cruz area, particularly there in the strawberries. It's a cancer-causing pesticide. Locally, where I'm at in the Salinas Valley, we're dealing with methomyl. Methomyl is used so much. Every single day, I'm getting alerts for methomyl, and just look at the health effects that it gives the community. It is horrible, and we need to really make sure that we voice our concerns. I mean, this is not a perfect system. But it's the first in the world, and it was created because of us, the activists fighting for it for many years. The only thing that it's missing is that exact location. So you only get that 1/4 of a mile. So it's like a guessing game. You have to guess like where exactly in that field is the pesticide application, but at least we're getting those alerts. So educate the community from our campesinos, teachers, nurses, anybody in California. You could literally see what's being sprayed around California.
I just posted a URL to the chat that I think is
Oh, thank you, Sean.
spraydays.cdpr.ca.gov. So it's right there in the chat.
And you can punch in up to 10 different addresses on the app on that website. I got all the schools in my area, and in just 1 month, I've received over 70 notifications. It's alarming how much they're spraying.
So are there any calls to action that you want to bring to the attention of the chat, of the audience? Any like
Boycott Driscoll's, boycott Berry Giant, write letters, educate yourself so you can educate your family members, spread the word, spread the word. We need to spread the word. Spray days, I think, is a very strong tool to use, because once you start getting those notifications, you will be overwhelmed with notifications. I think it's a very good tool to educate the public. It tells you the chemical that's being sprayed, and you can punch in up to 10 different addresses. And I think it's a very powerful tool for the community to have. So please sign up for that so you can start educating yourself, and you will be alarmed how many times they're spraying. And you want to put those addresses. If your kids go to school where the fields are next door, put that app in there and put that address in there. You'll be alarmed how many times those kids are being exposed.
And we will be collecting more signatures, right, Omar?
Yeah.
And if you see us around town or anywhere you see us, we should have some cards, and ask us for one so you can give us your support and your signature. Also, we might make some appearances here and there. So we'll be announcing that. Omar's webpage or his Instagram or his TikTok, I'm not sure which one it is, but I'll have it on mine. Whatever he posts, I'll repost it on mine so that we can maintain everybody informed on where we're going to be and what we're doing. So everything we do and all the actions that we are going to be having, we will definitely, Yaneli, I'm pretty sure she's going to be posting it up too. So, all of our social media will have an update of what we're doing. Omar's really good at doing it daily. So I'm just going to start barely, so.
When you say our social media, can you clarify what you mean?
So my social media is Providence Martinez Alaniz on Facebook. And Yaneli, you want to say yours?
Nelly Martinez, and you could also find us in under Safe Ag, Safe Schools. We're constantly uploading content and upcoming webinars or protests or legislative meetings. Like we had just one where Omar was with us with the Ag Commissioner, and also you guys could follow Future Leaders of Change. They also have their page, and they've been doing an amazing work. And again, finally we're going to have people representing us at the state that are going to be able to tell DPR how exactly our voices need to be heard. And I know Victor is one of them who's here online with us, but we also have a Watsonville native, Rocio Ortiz, a badass young Latina representing, and she's going to be all the way in Sacramento, meeting 4 times a year and telling DPR, my community's being poisoned. We're tired, and you need to listen to us. So, yes, follow all these amazing pages because there's so much going on. And just as long as you share, that's being an activist. You could create art, you could create poems, you could just come out and support. That is being active in our community. And I think, like I've mentioned it many times, also to end the dependency that we have with big ag, because the consumerist is another hot conversation, hot topic, right? So that's why they're growing so many strawberries at a rapid rate because of just how much the consumer depends on it. But if you really start shifting also and supporting local growers or farmers markets, that's where we hit also Driscoll's in their pocket because we know that, hey, this is the way I want to be able to create healthy foods and healthy food options for my community. So support local growers. That's our main pitch as well.
So if I go to a farmer's market, there's no way that I could be accidentally buying Driscoll's.
Nope.
No,
Cool. Okay, that's good to know.
And one last thing I would like to mention is, um, come out and support when you can. I know everybody has busy schedules, but the numbers, when we show up in numbers, it shows that we care. It shows that we want change. So please come out and support. Donate to SAS. Donate to Cora. Donate to the Center for Farm Worker Families, so that we can keep this movement going. And we're in it for the long run. At least I am. We need to end this. This has been going on for way too long. Too many of our people are suffering. Our youth, our youth are suffering, and we need to take care of our youth.
and affects everybody, even people that don't live in this town. Believe it or not, but it affects everybody. This is a problem. They say your success is my success, and if there's no success, then whose success is it going to be? So we need to. I know I have a lot of friends from San Jose, a lot of friends from all different towns, and they want to support us and they want to know what they can do. They want us to go to their town and they want to, just spread the word. So I encourage them to continue on asking, and we will, I know that there's a few people making comments that they want us to go to a few events out of town. Omar is really tired right now. So for him to drive, maybe if somebody can drive us, I know Yanley is not. I don't know if she's available, but we can definitely try to do, as what we can to go and speak on the matter. So thank you for all the invitations to everybody who's making them on the chat. I appreciate it.
So we're scheduled to go till 8:30. I just asked for those calls to action because I knew some people were going to start dropping off on the hour. Are there
I,
any?
I just want to say real quick is those were a lot of websites and social media pages. So what I'll do is I'll collect those from you after,
Yeah,
or
good
from,
idea.
I'll gather all of those and I'll put them on our Substack, send it out in an email, something like that, so that because I'm sitting here and I'm like, there's too many. So,
Yeah,
but which is a great
that's
thing.
good.
It's a great thing, and I absolutely, share, support, and we'll try and also show up as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Are there any more audience questions? I saw Nadia had her hand
I
raised,
saw some in there.
but we've got Michael. But before we go to Michael, is there anyone who hasn't asked a question that would like to ask one? Um, Looks like no. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, so question I had, yes, I have a comment question. There's been conversations and studied studies done on worker cooperatives to address the pesticide crisis, or farmers co-op. How do you how do you see the farmers cooperatives making a big difference in stopping, corporate takeover of farmlands? It's not taking over corporate farmlands, but stopping the corporate abuses, investors, harming the farmlands? And if so, what would it take to start a farmland cooperative? From a community meso to macro? Thank you.
Does any panelists have an opinion on co-ops?
No, I think there's a lot of other people working on that, so that's a great question. I know that what is that group called? Sorry, I'm really bad with names and stuff. I know Land Watch, I believe, does a lot of that. We do also have in Salinas, um, Alba. So they do a lot of co-ops where they teach people how to become farmers and how to achieve their own way of farming, and then also having some money aside to buy property or rent property. So that is a conversation piece as well. I mean, but yeah, that's a good idea of having like maybe a forum where Omar and Providence are speaking and have that information available just for those that do really want that initiative or that start. I mean, but those are, I know for a fact, those are two that are actually doing that work. We're doing more of the pesticide reform work, but I know Alba is amazing when it comes to supporting the local organic growers.
Well, I mean, it makes me think of what Providence had been saying about how these growers want to move to organic, but Driscoll's won't allow it to happen because of they've got this simple concern for the bottom line. But with a co-op, you're going to have a different set of priorities, and you're going to have a longer term vision, and you're going to have a bigger prioritization of people in the community, right? The people living in the community are the same people that own and operate the farm. So it's impossible. I can't imagine that co-ops wouldn't bring a huge improvement with respect to this specific issue of pesticides, because the people who own it and operate it live there where the pesticides are being sprayed or would be sprayed. So of course they're going to want to move to organic. Just my uninformed opinion, I guess.
I have a question. And it's kind of a random question, but I know a lot of people have said, be careful because your family and everything like that. Have you had any direct threats from the corporations, from the industry? Has anything actually come to your door? I'm very curious about that because I know how
I
serious it is.
I I have received a few phone calls, and they have told me to watch out. And so I don't feel threatened, but my family does. And they tell me, you need to watch yourself, don't you be careful wherever you go. And I'm like, fine. I'm careful. I look everywhere I go, and they're a little paranoid, sometimes, and so yeah, my family has been a little paranoid, a lot paranoid, but I'm not gonna give up. I'm not, nobody's gonna put fear into me. I don't live by fear. I live by what's right, and God is the only one that has control of everything in my life. So, the creator is whatever power out there, that is protecting me, then so be it, and my creator, I know, is taking care of me. So enough is enough. It has to stop. Whether it's me saying it or somebody else saying it, I've said it already. So now people needs to spread the message. It's the youth that is going to do that. Our youth, my kids. I mean, everybody needs to take this very serious. These people are big. They have big money. They do big things, and especially after what happened to that one guy that got shot, the activist. I did have like 3 phone calls from different people, and they said, see, if you continue doing this kind of stuff, this is what happens to activists. And I'm like, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen no matter what. But I don't think that Driscoll's would go that far. I don't doubt it either, but I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anything. I'm gonna speak the truth, and the truth is the truth. So be it.
And there's
Uh,
power in numbers. So, and you're actually getting media attention, you're actually getting articles out there. I think that's so impressive and so important just to back up, everything you're saying. You have the receipts.
Yes, I have the reports right here, Driscoll's.
someone, someone
So
mentioned earlier that you were able to use a church space to create kind of a safe space. So is that something that is currently happening, or was that
Yes,
okay? And you find that is effective in terms of like allowing the community to gather and to feel safe? That
yes, that is a very good place. We have a hall and we work with other organizations doing other things for the community also, but it's a very safe space. So our pastor, her name is Trudy. She's very active in the community also. She's a new pastor, and you'll be hearing more about her. But she does on Saturdays. She's there, and she's available for anybody and everybody that wants to go to the hall. There's also vendors there. Like I said, on Saturdays we have like a flea market. Over 60 vendors are there, so there's going to be a lot of traffic. You park outside and you have to walk in, but it's a really safe space. So it's on 95 Alta Vista Avenue. It's in Watsonville. It's across the street from the DMV. It's a Lutheran community church.
um, Yaneli, are there any audience questions? I'm not seeing any. Yaneli, you mentioned something about, I think maybe it was the DPR. Were you saying the DPR gets money, gets some of its funding from the corporation? So it's kind of like, I know with the FDA, for example, one of the conflicts of interest that people mention is that the companies pay for their own trials. The trials of the pharmaceutical companies pay for the trials. So in the case of the DPR, what does that look like? Like how does that corporate money end up getting into the budget of the DPR?
Well, you could do the public records request and you see that money there. They don't openly talk about that money. It's like, oh, it's a hush kind of a thing deal going on. But then when you realize these pesticides are never going to get banned, the case like 13D, that the regulation was just ridiculous. That what they brought forward, just what in July, I believe, makes you wonder why they do things a certain way. And it's because of money interest, of who's lobbying them. And it's again, these big chemical companies.
So you're
So
saying it's more in the form of lobbying of the corporations lobby the DPR. They don't give money to the DPR.
no, they do give money to DPR. Yeah, so if you anybody could go and ask for do the public records request for DPR, and you do see that money from Cortiva, from Bayer. Yep, all that money appears in their money
Wow. Okay.
and their big chunk of money that they have. But then again, they say that they don't have money because in California, believe it or not, where we have all these issues happening in the Central Valley and Central Coast with the valley fever, with the pesticides, there's only 7 air monitors. Only 7. And one happens to be right there at Ohlone Elementary, and Monterey County, Salinas doesn't have another one all the way down in Ventura, the next one. So it's ridiculous that California, being such a big state, we only have 7 air monitors to collect the data of all the pesticides that are in the air. So our air quality is really not safe because there's nobody tracking that
In the whole state.
in the whole state of California.
Well, there we go. That's something we need to work on.
Yep.
Yes, please.
I
Let's
will
go.
say I've met a gentleman from UC Santa Cruz who's developing these little wearable. He's working on making a wearable monitor, like a jacket that people could wear, so that and he's also got these little devices that he's placing around the community. The thing is that every device costs like $300, and he's just starting off with this. So I am in contact with him, so we are talking about how we could get more of those monitors put around the community. um but it's a project that he's working on, but I like what he's already done. And I like his idea of um making these jackets that people could wear to monitor, because people don't the other part of that is Driscoll's donating to all these people who, if you're getting donations, you probably don't want one of those monitors in your business. So we're finding ways to make it so it's not so visible, but we can collect that data.
Mimi, you've got a question?
Oh, actually, no, it was just a comment in regards to the air monitors. We've been fighting for air monitors for 30 years now in Monterey County. I used to volunteer for Evangelist Levon Stone and the Fort Ord Environmental Justice Network. Now, part of the issue in regards to what has prevented air monitors from being here is the military, because you also have contamination in regards to the military land, contamination to the water, air contamination. And so the Monterey County, I want to say it's the Monterey County Air District, or I can't remember the full word, but they used to actually have monitors at all the schools and they were taken out. So
Wait,
you
what?
have,
Wait,
yeah,
you
they
just
were
said
taken
there were
out.
models at the schools and they were taken out?
They were taken out. Yeah, they were
When
taken
was
out.
that?
When the fire started jumping the fire line in Fort Ord, and
Wow.
then you started noticing them coming out. Yeah.
Wow.
And so that was a big thing here on the peninsula, is they didn't want the air monitored because of a lot of the things going on in regards to Fort Ord. A lot of people don't know Fort Ord is the size of San Francisco. I want to say it's like 27,000 acres or something like that. So it's not just big ag that is fighting this. You also have a military industrial complex in the state of California that is also fighting this, because every military site is a Superfund site, which usually means it is highly toxic. So it's not just agriculture. You have other entities that are also um, players in this. You also have like dry cleaning industry in regards to the chemicals that they use. So there's a lot of things going on. But I know specifically here in Monterey County, that request has been for the last 30 years, and they used to have even small mobile machines that would go that would be at the schools, but they were taken out. So you're not just fighting one entity, it's multiple entities that those machines would tell on, not just ag.
Yep.
True. That's very
Yep.
true.
Yeah, because in Salinas, Monterey, we had one exactly at the airport, and we had one in Chular. Chular is such a hot mess for pesticides. And again, they took them down. And when we did bring it forward to the Board of Supervisors and the Ag Commissioner, they basically brought it back to us with the excuse that, oh, it's a lot of money. We don't have the money in our budget right now for air monitors. So again, going back to what Maika just mentioned, that is a true testament that people don't want to know what is being applied near wherever the air monitor is going to be at. Because again, the Ohlone air monitor is basically showing back the results for 13D in the air, and it's 14 times, not 5, not 10, 14 times about above the normal level. And that's what they're poisoning the kids. But people don't want that data. People don't want to believe that's happening, especially they don't care if it's a community of Latino indigenous children. That's something that we don't talk about. So that's the fact that they don't want to basically have everything exposed out in the community that they are poisoning these kids.
Well, if I could interject though, it's not that, I wouldn't say people per se don't want to know, because the people, unfortunately, the people are going to take what you give them. So, we had the example, if you've ever seen the Malcolm X movie, where Malcolm and Elijah Muhammad are talking, and Elijah Muhammad's like, yeah, if you give the people dirty water, they'll drink it. But if you give them clean water, they'll also drink it. So the problem is the fact that people don't know this is happening because the information is not being provided. If you actually provide the information, people will react to the information, but you have a hiding of the information. So if people know about it, they'll
Hmm.
react to it. But
Yep.
you have a media that's going to hide it. Perfect example, when those Fort Ord fires were happening, I remember our local media would make little comments like, "Oh, look at that. It's like a little cloud or a little pillow above the peninsula." And it's like, no, that's ash with particles smaller than 2.5 that could get trapped into not just your throat, but like actually in your lungs, like in your bronchioles. That's how small the particles were. But
Mhm.
they called it a cute little cloud above the peninsula. So you have things like that where people are making light of things that are actually very detrimental.
Hmm.
So if we didn't use soft speech and things like that, and we actually told people what was really going on, then yeah, you would get a reaction. But that's also part of the reason why people are not being told what's going on.
So Mimi, that makes me think about the campaign finance issue, because this is something really surprising to me, is that when I was running last cycle, I was speaking to journalists in local newspapers who didn't know what kind of money Jimmy Panetta was taking. They were surprised. And then I had to, like, I gave them the receipts, like fec.gov URLs that showed all this money that he was taking, like from APAC, for example, and Lockheed Martin. These were journalists who didn't know how to find it. So if journalists don't know about this, then certainly the average voter doesn't know about it. So and I think that's something that we as activists need to be working on, is making it really easy and really open and in people's faces all this money, particularly from big ag. On this issue, we know that a lot of these politicians are bought, Jimmy Panetta included. I want every voter to know that. I wish that we could just pass out a voter guide for every ballot, where just like told people the top three donors for every person that they had to check a box next to.
Mhm.
You should. You should have it on your webpage. You should have that information on your webpage.
Yeah, but it's not just for me. We need it for all. I just wish we had that information for everyone. Now we've
Yeah.
only got 5 minutes left. I do actually have one question that I want to ask, because that Barrios event, did we lose
Omar?
yeah,
I
yeah.
think his phone died.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
he said he had to jump off because he had somebody show up, so he
okay.
left a last message in the chat there.
Okay, cool. So yeah,
Oh,
that event at Barrios, that's where I met you, Yaneli. That was amazing. In term, I mean, it was very hot. That was aside from how hot it was, the attendance was amazing. I mean, how many people were there? 150 or something? Like, that's the most people I've ever seen in that space. And it's fantastic. It really, I saw a lot of people that I knew from my like Santa Cruz City activist community, and people who I know for a fact were not aware of this issue very recently. So like clearly that event was successful in bringing in new people. And I'm curious if you know why that was such a success. Do you have any ideas as to why new people were brought in?
I think a lot of new organizations that weren't involved in the ag department or with anything that had to do with field workers. One being the what is that called? The organization. They were individualist and indivisibles.
Indivisible?
Indivisible was there. There was
Oh,
and they're
I
a
see.
huge network, I'm
Indivisible
part
is
of that
big.
too, and they we never talked
Okay.
about that subject, but I know that they put it on their webpage and on their social
Okay.
media, and they invited people to that event.
That's probably
So
why.
they
Okay.
they definitely have a good turnout every time they have any kind of event.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
very informative
Yeah.
also. They investigate everything. Olivia is really good at that. So a shout out to Olivia, thank you for supporting us. She has our back. So I know that individualists or indivisibles,
Indivisible.
indivisible, South County and North County, I think they all joined right there.
I
So
see. Okay. Well, mystery
that was
solved.
one. That was one. But
Mystery
I think
solved.
all the other different organizations, like Janelli's organization, and then with Woody, with Cora, and like all
Right.
these organizations came together. There was even school board members there that joined us and that are supporting us too. So I didn't see any city council members. Oh yeah, I think two city council members were there from Watsonville. So it was different people were there this
Yeah, that was a
time.
fantastic event.
So it was fantastic.
So we're about out of time here. We've got 2 minutes left. Thank you so much to our panelists. This is such an important issue, and we just need to keep spreading awareness. And my campaign. Oh, by the way, SeanForCongress.org. I guess everybody here is already getting emails from us, but if you're not, you should go to SeanForCongress.org and sign up for our newsletter. We're going to continue uh, trying to raise awareness around this issue, and hopefully coordinating or collaborating with Cora and SAS and other related
Yes, we
organizations.
definitely look forward to working with you more. And Ashley, I just want to thank you so much. I know you helped me log in. I was having a little bit of trouble logging in. So I just want to take the time to just say thank you for everything you do. You're in the background and you're handling everything so everything can function right. So thank you, Sean, for inviting us here today. I really had a lot of fun today here talking about this. It makes me feel really good being able to speak out and to say what needs to be said. And thank you, Yanley, for being here too. You know, it was an awesome hour. I really enjoyed it. I hope we can do it again, and I hope we can continue this momentum. And thank you for all your support.
Thank you. Yanley, any parting words?
Yeah, no, the same thing. I mean, it was amazing being in this space with really good, caring human beings that are making a difference in the community. And every single one of you that connected, you're already doing something by, you could have done anything else because it is a wonderful Saturday. I mean, I think one of our warmest before we actually move into fall. But you were here and you were raising your concerns and asking those amazing questions. And that's what we need to be together in solidarity for changes to call out what's happening out in this horrible world that we're living in right now, but it takes people coming together and actually speaking about it instead of turning the other way.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody who's online and who asked questions and who is interested and wants to participate and wants to do something about it. I mean, it's great. It makes my heart feel real warm. So thank you very much.
And I did put my phone number there in the chat box. Anybody want to contact me, feel free to call me, text me.
Likewise, I put my number in there too. So, and I know Ashley will have the contact, so you can contact Ashley too. And then for Congress, we got Mr. Sean coming up. So remember, keep him in mind, you know? You vote for him and we're gonna have a change, a good change.
And hopefully we can get some of those cards for some of our table lane and things that too.
Oh, we would be happy to. Yeah, we're gonna be knocking doors, and we'd be happy to carry that kind of stuff with give that to our door knockers.
Well, we would like to knock on. I mean, I like to knock on doors, so I like to canvas. I'm a canvasser, so
Great.
I really and let us know or let me know, and I'd be willing to go and knock on some doors too.
SeanForCongress.org. Just sign up for the newsletter, and you'll be connected.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Good night,
to
everyone.
both of you,
Good night.
to
Thank
Omar,
you.
and to everybody watching.
Good night, everybody watching.
Good night.
Good night.
Danelli, ¿me llamas, eh?